California, and that's where I met my husband. So that was the end of working for other people in photography. I moved on to a career in property management. And it was a really good segue into real estate photography because, I mean, property management and real estate have a lot of cross similarities. And I think it better prepared myself for that part of it because I knew what we were looking for when we were trying to market an apartment, just as someone would know what they're trying to look for when they're marketing a home. So it was helpful and a different way to expand on something that I liked, but in a creative way.
Oh, I see. So you were able to take your passion and the things that you love and create a career out of it.
Yes, which I have said for the past year or so, I feel so lucky and blessed because I'm sure with a lot of people, you know, you go through life working different jobs, doing different things, trying to find your niche. And I feel like I found my niche. And that's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to take something that you love. And I've always dabbled in it, you know, since middle school, I've dabbled in it and, you know, put it to use, make it work for you. And it's a great, empowering feeling.
I am so impressed that, you know, to be able to find a passion and live the life that you love in a place like the Dalles where it's sunny and beautiful every day.
Agreed.
You know, it might be raining in Portland, but it's sunny and beautiful in the Dalles.
I tell everyone back home, if I told you how beautiful it was here, you'd all move here, you know, which would be a good thing for my own family, but it's wonderful.
Well, it's interesting to me how people get to the Gorge.
Yeah.
That's always an interest to me. So I always like to ask that question.
Yeah.
And also, how did you reach your passion in your career? And it sounds like it's kind of interesting to look back on that and say, oh gosh, it started at Life Touch or JCPenney. But
yeah, it definitely did.
So one question I have for you is, how did you, when you went and you were taking pictures of people,
yes,
how did you morph that into real estate when you moved here?
Well, honestly, it took one person to ask me. It took a local real estate agent.
Not the one you're married to?
No, he was not a real estate agent when I started this. There's another pride point. He didn't get me into it. I got into it on my own a good year before he became an agent. Heather Wright of Keller Williams, she just asked me, hey, do you ever photograph homes? I said, no, but I would love to try if you're willing to hire me. And I remember that day really well. I remember being a little bit overly prepared and nervous and just not wanting to disappoint. But it worked out really well. And I was, you know, for lack of a better word, impressed with myself thinking, oh, you know, that was fun. This is something that is always going to be a need, you know, there's always going to be a need for real estate photography. And it kind of just went from there, a nice, slow, steady increase. So for the past, I'm going on this is my third year doing real estate photography for realtors in the Gorge. And I'm loving it.
So you were one of the first here in the Gorge to roll out the Matterport technology.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So for people who are unfamiliar, Matterport is a company who produces 3D home tours. Other names you might hear it by is a virtual home tour. When I say to people, when I meet them in their home, let's say, and I'm doing it, I say, have you ever been on the internet and seen that 3D tour where there's little bubbles on the ground and you have to pinpoint and you walk yourself through the home? And they go, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I said, well, that's what this will be, you know, when you see it. The Matterport technology is actually a 360 scan or picture. So the camera itself, every place that it's put, it takes a 360 image of the area of the home. And then it's all stitched together afterwards to create like a fully immersive virtual diagram of the home. It's pretty darn cool.
Wow. So How long does it take? So when you're shooting photos of a house and do you set up the Matterport during the course while you're taking other photos and it does its thing, or do you have to stand there with it?
I wish.
Oh no. You have to stand there with it?
Yes. It's two separate things. I kid that I get my steps in when I do it. I like to do the still photography first because I get a really good lay of the land. And in my mind, I'm thinking about, ooh, I like that angle, or, oh yeah, this is a good path to show people when I'm walking through with the 3D camera. It just helps me prepare for doing a good scan of the home too, because it's more than just setting the camera there and walking away. I think you need to be thoughtful about it so that it comes out well. But yes, you have to stay with it. You put the camera down, you push the record button or start button, and I've timed it. It's about 7 seconds a scan. I have to hide around a corner. I can't be seen. And then I go grab the camera and I move it to the next spot, which is only about 4 or 5 feet away from the existing scan, so that it can pick it up and move you from place to place.
So would you say that it's not necessarily per room that you put the camera in?
No.
It's every 5 feet in that room?
Yeah, because you want to be able to move around it too. I'm sitting right by a coffee table right now. I'd want to be, if you were walking into a home and this was our living room, you'd want to be able to walk around that coffee table too. I could easily bring the camera up and just set it on the corner. But I feel that's like a little bit cheating. The point of a fully immersive 3D tour is that you're actually in the home, that you can see everything, walk up to a window virtually and go, oh yeah, I do see that mountain. How cool.
Yeah. Well, I've seen your Matterports and they're incredible. And I know that it's so easy to be able to, click on something on realtor.com and walk through that house. Have you seen that impact? Or maybe your husband has shared with you the impact of how many showings a house gets because of the Matterport technology?
Yeah, I'd say that it makes a big impact on any home that does it. I would say that it's making a bigger impact right now due to our current circumstances with the pandemic. I think that, I know I have definitely seen an uptick in agents wanting the Matterport done, which I think is very smart. And I'm kind of leading myself away from the beginning of that question.
But the point is that's true. Your orders for photography because of Matterport have gone up.
Definitely.
Because everybody is seeing the value in that right now because we can't get into, necessarily see houses.
Right. And I mean, I hope it changes how people will think about how to market all their homes in the future. Of course, that would be great for business. But I do think it's smart. And I think that home buyers look at it and I think they expect more like immersive ways of viewing the home. And it's a great tool.
So as far as Matterport, so Matterport is one of the technologies that just came out a couple years ago. What was that? Was it like drone photography, or that seems to be kind of a way of the past now.
Sure, yeah, and it has its time and place as well. I do all three, and overwhelmingly, of course, it's listing photos and then followed by someone choosing to do the virtual tour of a home. And I think it's a really smart way to market a home. And
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a smart way because the presentation online is so different now and so important. And so as far as the process, so when a realtor is perceivably getting a new listing, then they hire you or a photographer to go out there and take photos. So how long does that process take?
Good question. It depends on what exactly I'm doing, but and the size of the home, of course.
Oh, right. Like if it's 10,000 square feet.
Exactly. That's a big job. But overall, each service approximately takes an hour. So if I'm doing just photography, an hour, add on the Matterport, it can take a little longer sometimes. There's always hiccups that come in the way, like, the dog that won't leave the living room, or little surprises and things that come along. But it's, I always tell the agents, let the homeowner know this could take me up to 2 hours. So I don't think that's crazy, but it definitely does take a little bit of time due to the tediousness of scan after scan and how far you can go with it.
So how do you edit those?
Great question. I don't edit them, actually.
Really?
Yeah. The Matterport is a Matterport company. I pay an annual fee to. They are the host for the virtual tour, so it's provided on their server. And when you're done with a tour, the most labor-intensive part of it is my time on site. Their program stitches together the photos and puts it all together. When I get it back, I have to review it. I go through, I make sure everything worked out okay. If there was a hairy place in the home, meaning I don't know if things were going to pick up right, I always make sure to go back to that place too and make sure I can navigate myself around it well, because you want to make sure the user can too. You can add things to it, like a highlight reel, which we've seen recently. It's just a way of adding different views that you like the best in the home. So it takes you on a step-by-step tour and then shows you like the kitchen. It's a gorgeous kitchen. So maybe you stop and pause on that area on the highlight.